Because in reality, Jodi was Travis's dirty little secret. Despite projecting himself as a good and virginal Mormon man, someone who was a temple member, from the moment he met Jodi, he was pushing and pushing her to have a sexual relationship with him. What would have forced Jodi? It was Travis's continual abuse. And on June 4th of 2008, it had reached a point of no return.
The trial of Jodi Arias is back in session today. Last week, jurors got to hear from lawyers on both sides. Arias is accused of shooting, stabbing, and slitting the throat of her on-again, off-again boyfriend, Travis Alexander, in his Mesa home in 2008. Jason Lamm is a defense and trial attorney who has been following this case, as so many other attorneys throughout the country have been. Last week, we saw some very gruesome photos. Her defense, though, is that she killed him in self-defense. How does that hold?
Well, Javier, the first thing is that's actually her third defense, because she's already given 3 separate statements. The first, she told the detective, I haven't seen Travis Alexander in months. In fact, she said it was days before the murder when she spoke to him the last time. Then she said there were armed intruders and she couldn't give a description of them. And now, the third defense that her attorneys are running with at trial is that she acted in self-defense, that Travis was abusive to her over the years, and here we go.
One thing against her in this whole self-defense claim is the fact that it was a gruesome, gruesome murder scene.
This was clearly one of the most horrific crime scenes that people can recall. We know that Travis Alexander was stabbed 29 times, 10 times to the back. His throat was slit side to side, and finally, we expect evidence from a medical examiner that post-mortem, after he was dead, that Jodi Arias shot him at almost point-blank range in the face.
Last week, we spoke with an attorney who said she is too pretty to be convicted and on death row. She herself has said that a jury couldn't convict her. What's your response to that?
Well, Jodi Arias is clearly arrogant. She's a bit of a narcissist. And she said in one of the interviews, mark my words, no jury will convict me. And as the prosecutor, Juan Martinez, said in opening, mark her words. This isn't whether she's pretty, ugly, whether she's a prostitute, a princess. It really doesn't matter. What the jury is going to look at are the facts of the case. And what we know is that we have a horrible, horrible, gruesome crime scene. And that's what they're going to be evaluating the charges on, not what she looks like.
From a defense attorney's standpoint, does she take the stand?
Well, I don't think she has a choice at this point, because in Arizona, the defense has to raise self-defense. Then the prosecution has to come back and rebut it. But Javier, there were 2 people in that room, and Travis Alexander is dead. And you heard her attorney say in opening that Travis was abusive over the years to her, that she acted in self-defense because she feared for her life. Well, only one person knows that, and that's Jodi Arias, and she will have to take the stand.
One thing to note, Juan Martinez, the prosecutor in this case, he actually has a female on death row.
Correct. There are 3 women currently on Arizona's death row. Wendy Andriano was a defendant who killed her husband, also in a very gruesome fashion, and Juan Martinez was the prosecutor. And Andriano also claimed that she was the victim of domestic violence and abuse for many years by her husband. So this is nothing new to the prosecutor. He's done this dance before. He knows how it's going to go, and we know how it worked out for Andriano.
All right. Well, a lot of people following this very closely. I know you're doing some stuff for national media as well, so we appreciate you coming in.
Always glad to see you.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, the trial resumes at 10:30 this morning. Of course, we continue to stream that live on azfamily.com. We'll be right back with more Good Morning Arizona.